Hello. In this video, I'm going to look at Kathleen Eisenhardt's article, Strategy as Strategic Decision Making. It appeared in the MIT Sloan Management Review in the spring of 1999. In this article, Eisenhardt focuses attention on the importance of strategy process. It is just as important, and for some more important, than the content of strategy that emerges from the process is. In this, there are links to the organic approach to strategy making, in which attention needs to be paid to the cognitive biases and the dynamics of the decision-making unit. The process is just as much a learning process, a dynamic capability, as a means to an end. While Eisenhardt's research focuses on high-velocity markets, her insights are just as relevant for any industry under stress. Now, Eisenhardt starts the article with a definition of strategy in saying that it answers two questions. Where do you want to go, and how do you want to get there? She says that traditional approaches to strategy focus on the first of these, on the content, choosing a defensible strategic position or building core competencies. Only later, if at all, do executives get round to the second question. Yet in today's high velocity, hotly competitive markets, this approach is incomplete. It overemphasises managers' ability to analyse and predict, and underemphasises the size of the challenge of creating effective strategies. In such high-velocity markets, to be ahead of the game, firms need to create a series of shifting advantages. So for executives, the ability to make fast, widely supported and high quality strategic decisions on a frequent basis is the cornerstone of effective strategy. So, strategic decision making is the fundamental dynamic capability in excellent firms. In Eisenhardt's research, clear differences stood out between the strategic decision making process of effective and less effective firms. Strikingly, these differences run counter to many currently held beliefs. For example, conflict slows down choice, politics is typical, or fast decision making needs to be autocratic. Eisenhardt identifies four keys to effective strategic decision making, setting the stage by building collective intuition, stimulating quick conflict to improve quality without sacrificing time, maintaining disciplined pacing to drive decisions, and diffusing political behaviour that creates unproductive conflict and so wastes time. She then takes us through each of these in turn, starting with building collective intuition. One myth about decision making in high velocity markets is there is no time for formal meetings and no place for careful consideration of an extensive set of information. So executives should concentrate on only one or two options, consider limited data, and make decisions on the fly. Eisenhardt's research shows that effective strategic decision makers do not follow that approach. They use much more information than ineffective executives and hold far more regularly scheduled don't miss meetings. Instead of focusing on accounting-based information and forecasts that are likely to be wrong, they intensively engage in real-time, detailed operational data and on external market developments. So building a collective intuition that allows them to move quickly and accurately. Sharing of information at must-attend meetings is an essential part of building that collective intuition. Often individual meetings will dive deeply onto one or two strategic issues facing the business, with the interplay of ideas between executives enhancing their understanding. The use of real-time information at those must-attend meetings creates teams that know each other well. With that familiarity comes frank conversations and a willingness to express diverse views. The strategic decision-making process then moves more quickly and considers a range of perspectives in depth. Ongoing engagement also gives managers a gut feel of changing competitive dynamics, and so gives them a head start in recognising and understanding strategic issues when they occur. In contrast, less successful top management teams rarely meet as a group. When they do, they turn their attention to a few of the largest issues and rely on external market analysis and future trend projections that are solely generated for that particular decision. The result is a group of strangers who have difficulty engaging with one another. The second key that Eisenhardt turns her attention to is stimulating quick conflict. Many executives are keen to avoid conflict, assuming it will bog down decisions and degenerate into personal attacks. Reality is different. In dynamic markets, conflict is a natural feature of significant decisions. Reasonable managers will naturally diverge in their views. Conflict stimulates innovation, creates a fuller understanding, and therefore improves decision effectiveness rather than bogging it down. Without conflict, key elements are ignored and opportunities are missed. As a result, effective decision makers don't just tolerate conflict, they accelerate it. In this, Eisenhardt's research identified 3 ways in which this is done. Firstly, by promoting diversity in the executive team to bring in different opinions and arguments. Well, that's by age, gender, functional background, experience, etc. Secondly, by using frame-breaking tactics that create alternative views. For example, the use of scenario planning to consider decisions from the perspective of several possible future states. Frameworks, role-play, backcasting, the details of the techniques are not crucial. Rather, the point is to use and switch among them to prevent stale thinking. The third way to promote constructive conflict, and perhaps the most powerful, is by creating multiple alternative options so the team can work with an array of possibilities at the same time. So, diverse teams, frame-breaking techniques, and multiple alternatives. Now, they work because they promote multiple viewpoints and establish the norm that constructive conflict is expected. They also enable rapid comparison of alternatives, helping to develop deeper understanding and confidence in the choices that are being made. At the same time, multiple alternatives also diffuse the interpersonal tensions that can accompany such conflict. It gives managers the room to manoeuvre and to save face. The third key that Eisenhardt looks at is maintaining pace. Effective strategy decision makers look for pace and momentum rather than rushing to make quick choices. They start the decision process promptly, keep up the energy in that process, and test as they go. The debate is then cut off at the appropriate moment. They often use rules of thumb for how long a major decision should take. In Eisenhardt's research, it was fairly consistently seen as between 2 and 4 months. Shorter, and the decision is not strategic enough to warrant the team's attention. If longer, the team is trying to decide too big an issue or is procrastinating. They also view a decision as part of a larger web of strategic choices. This allows the scope to be adjusted to fit the time frame and lowers the emotional stakes of a single choice. They break any deadlock by voting, or more commonly allowing the manager with the biggest stake in the outcome to decide. So, consensus with qualification. Not everyone needs to agree, but each member has a legitimate voice in the process. Most managers realise, as one put it in the article, that consensus is nice, but we have to keep up with the train. Less effective strategic decision makers stress the rarity and significance of strategic choices. As the choice looms, they often procrastinate, oscillating between letting the issue languish and taking a shotgun approach. The process will often start late, drag through endless meetings, trying to find consensus, and often will be preempted by independent action taken by one of the team members, with the rest scrambling to catch up. The final key Eisenhardt raises is the diffusion of politics. Now, some executives believe politics are a natural part of strategic choice. Given the high stakes involved, competition will rise amongst ambitious managers. In contrast, effective decision makers take a negative view of politics, as it is likely to distort information being shared and waste valuable time. Interpersonal conflict, as opposed to constructive conflicts, gets in the way of developing common goals. Instead, managers fight together for a shared vision of where they want to be and see external competitors as the common foe. More direct ways to diffuse politics are humour and also having a balanced power structure where decision makers have clear areas of responsibility. The leader, whilst the most powerful, limits the areas where she directly takes the decision. Less effective strategic decision makers usually have an inward focus and lack a sense of teamwork. Power structures are typically dysfunctional, often with the leader dominating every aspect of the business. Eisenhardt sums up her article by reinforcing the view that in high-velocity, hotly competitive markets, strategic decision-making is the fundamental capability that leads to superior performance. When strategy is a flow of shifting competitive advantages, the choices that shape strategy matter greatly and occur frequently. So you need to get the strategy process right. So, what can we take from Eisenhardt's article? Well, it has an important emphasis on the process by which strategy is made and recognises that it is a dynamic and ongoing journey. It also makes important points about the flow of collective engagement by a management team and about the necessity within this for constructive conflict to ensure issues are fully explored and so more robust decisions are made. It is also worth saying that while Eisenhardt's research is on high velocity sectors, often in technology, similar observations are made by others in more mature market, including work by Andrew Pettigrew and myself regarding the UK insurance sector. So, food for thought when you're trying to make strategic decisions and maybe are holding back on expressing a view within your team. Thank you for listening.